it up. It's the Team Supernova Podcast.
What is up, everybody? This is the first episode of the Team Supernova Podcast. I'm Tebow, and I'm joined by my co-host, Darn.
Hey, what's up? I'm Darn.
And we've got a great show in store for you. Today, we're going to be talking about exclusives. I know a lot of people hate them. Some people love them. It's a pretty polarizing conversation. So first and foremost, I guess let's just talk about a little bit about the history of what exclusives are and what they mean for Mountain Dew, because I know some other brands have different meanings for exclusives. So first of all, exclusives really, and this might surprise you, exclusives have been around in the realm of Mountain Dew technically for almost 20 years. If we want to count Baja Blast.
Yeah, Baja Blast is kind of an exclusive, kind of not, because every summer they release them in stores. But it started out as a Taco Bell exclusive.
And even you in Canada have it permanently.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we just have them in bottles
So
at every store all the time, not just summer. It's awesome.
It begs the question, does Baja Blast still count as an exclusive?
Great question.
Almost want to say it doesn't. I mean, Taco Bell would probably argue otherwise. They still have, Taco Bell Original on all of their packaging and all that. So you could argue that it still is. Is it? I think it's up for debate. So yeah, that's been around since 2004. After that, we didn't really have an exclusive until 2011. That's when Typhoon came in. And funny enough, if you weren't aware of this, Typhoon was exclusive to Walmart Supercenter. Exclusively available in 2-liter bottles. It's part of the
Walmart Supercenter?
Specifically Walmart Supercenters.
Not the regular sized Walmarts, just the Supercenters.
Not regular sized Walmarts, not neighborhood markets. And
they even have neighborhood markets? I don't know. The concept is new to me.
So neighborhood markets are like grocery only. Like there's not general merchandise or anything like that. But a lot of people were really angry about that back in the day. And it's something that I'm glad they didn't continue doing. I mean, people get really upset about the distribution of limited edition flavors now. Typhoon in 2 liters is one of the most poorly distributed flavors I have ever seen. I think I saw it twice. I have some friends that never saw it. That was a mess. It was cool in the sense of history. So like now it's kind of cool to look back on, but like at the time, not that cool.
Yeah.
So moving on, we've got into 2013, Electric Apple at Pizza. Is it Pizza Villa?
Villa Italian Kitchen, I believe, is what it's called now. Back in the day, it was called Villa Pizza, I think.
Okay, and this one, I've gotten into some debates with people about this. I don't know where you stand on this, Darn. I do not think that Electric Apple counts as a flavor of Mountain Dew.
I'm actually not sure. I think I'm neutral on this issue.
Here's why I don't think it counts. So for those of you that aren't aware, Electric Apple is original Mountain Dew, and they take some apple syrup and they mix it in there, and that makes Electric Apple. To me, you can make that at home. Like, don't get me wrong, Dew SA, you can make at home. A Holiday Brew, you can make at home. But at their core, Dew SA and Holiday Brew are their own flavors, that are created as those. Electric apple, I feel like if it doesn't come in a bib, it's not a flavor. I don't know though, because I know there's arguments to be made on the other side of that.
Yeah, it was marketed as an official flavor and it has a name to it.
Yeah.
It's not just called green apple syrup mixed with Mountain Dew. No, it's called electric apple or whatever you want to call it, but we're not going to get into that right now. If you know, you know. If you don't know, we're not going to tell you about it.
And maybe don't Google it either.
No.
So I've never actually even I haven't tried it. I haven't even mixed the syrup with Original Dew. So I can't even comment on how that one tastes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I actually have not tried it either. But there is a green apple flavor that I have tried, and you've tried as well. Kroger exclusive thrashed apple, which is not the same thing.
Good segue. Yeah, thrashed apple in all Kroger stores came out, what was that, last year, 2021?
Was it? It felt like this year. I don't know. Oh, was it?
It was last year. I just double checked.
Wow. Okay.
And for what I think it was the first time it did not just come to Kroger, it came to all Kroger owned stores, which is very exciting just because Kroger at its core, I think, only covers really the east part of the country. Because, you have the only one I think of is King Supers, but there's Ralph's.
Smith's Food and Drug is the one I go to.
Yeah, so you got all of those, and all of them get thrashed apple, which is very exciting. For me personally, we'll get into in a second about what happened with thrashed apple recently. For me personally, thrashed apple, not that good. Is it bad?
I'm not a huge fan of it either.
It's not bad. But for me, I just wish, and for anyone that's in the DDD, I'm going to sound like a broken record here. For me, I just wish it had more to it. If it was caramel apple, candy apple, cinnamon apple, apple cider, apple pie, something. Spicy apple, flaming apple, like anything. Extra flavor, please.
Yeah.
It isn't bad. I like it. It's fun to mix with stuff, but it's just at its core, it's just not boring. It's not a super exciting flavor. Speaking of mixing, for any of our listeners that like to have mixed drinks, one thing that is really good, I definitely encourage, is thrashed apple mixed with butterscotch schnapps.
That sounds pretty good.
It sounds kind of weird, but it gives it that kind of caramel apple taste, and it is incredible. So, on that note, let's get into what happened recently with thrashed apple. Darn, if you want to tell us about that.
I don't remember exactly when this is, but like a week ago, I'd say.
Week or two ago.
Yeah. So Tebow asked Kroger specifically on Twitter the status of thrashed apple, and they said that it was a temporary exclusive and that it was being discontinued and they were taking it out of their warehouses. And then like a few days later, they got back to you and said that no, actually it's permanent, it's here to stay. And that really messed with the whole community. And like a lot of people a lot of people don't even know if it's still supposed to be permanent or discontinued because they just kind of like switched it like that.
As far as we know, it is permanent with an asterisk. We think, we believe. The thing that threw me off the most about it was when Kroger in the tweet to me said it was never intended to be a permanent flavor. Like, what? Then the Mountain Dew marketed it as one. Like, so is that miscommunication between Mountain Dew and Kroger? Or is it a case of the social media specialist not getting the correct information? Was it discontinued at one point? It's honestly hard to tell. And
From
I'm
what I
not
remember,
go
it
ahead.
was like Mountain Dew was like it's temporary at first, and then it was sold so well that they decided to make it permanent.
You know what? I remember that now. They
Yeah,
did. It wasn't it like the first press release said it was a limited time.
yeah. And then they
And
said on Twitter that it was here to stay.
yep, a lot
So
of people pulled that tweet back out.
so it's entirely possible that maybe the Kroger Twitter person thought that it was going thought that the press release where they said it was limited time was like
Was the
the
correct
way it was
information.
going to be.
That that could be. I didn't really think about it that way, but that is definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
The other thing though is we haven't mentioned it. The sale prices, what was it? $2.99 for a 12-pack is what it was marked down to at some stores.
Yeah, that is a crazy price. $3 for a 12 pack.
And I know I saw some reports of people saying after the stores were cleared out, which I don't condone, after the stores were cleared out, that they were pulling off the price tags. So to me, that makes me think that to some extent, maybe they were working towards discontinuing it. But it's one of those things that it's so hard to tell, and I'm sure we will never get an official confirmation on that.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating. I would say the TLDR of that is no need to panic. No need to go buy 86 cases from your local Kroger.
Not naming names.
Yeah, not naming names. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. There's no need to panic for those that love it. The other thing to add is, as of now, we have no reason to believe that it is losing exclusivity with Kroger. I noticed in their tweets that they didn't mention that it's exclusive to them anymore, but I think to suggest that it is different is reading into it a little bit too much. So I would say let's just wait and see what happens, and if it pops up somewhere else,
Yeah.
cool.
In the case of Spark, we actually got like leaked renders around this time of the year. We saw leaked renders of an updated Spark design in like 12 packs, bottles, all that jazz. And there's nothing for Thrashed Apple or any other exclusive so far. So
yeah,
as far as we know, Spark is the only one, and I guess Baja Blast, to be unexclusive after being exclusive.
And see, that right there, that almost just goes back to, do we still consider Baja Blast an exclusive? Because when we were just having that exchange right there, I wasn't even thinking about Baja Blast. Like I know it is exclusive to Taco Bell, but like I don't think of it as one just because we see it on the shelf so much. It's interesting how that has changed over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but you just mentioned Spark. So let's talk about Spark for a minute. Spark initially came out exclusive to Speedway. I think it was the second limited edition exclusive after Typhoon.
Yeah.
2020 for the first release, and then 2021. Some people maintain that the formula was changed between those two releases. I'm not convinced personally.
Well, they changed the coloring at the very least, and they changed it enough that they had to change the UPC, the Universal Product Code, on the back of the bottle.
Definitely.
No, yeah, that's not entirely necessary unless it's like 5% different, I believe.
Something like that.
So there's definitely an argument for it.
Right.
I've only tried the original release of Spark once in like an expired bottle.
Oh, okay.
And from memory, it didn't taste different.
From my experience, I would say it didn't change too much either. part of it is I just wonder, we talk a lot about that there's this stigma of flavors that are readily available to us not being as exciting as flavors that are limited edition flavors. It makes me wonder if that has, kind of made people's thoughts of the permanent spark differ.
Yeah. Spark is kind of, I feel like, a bit niche. It's like lemonade. Not everyone likes lemonade. It's got a kind of a tang to it.
And you definitely have those people that think it's sour.
Yeah, it is definitely the most tart out of all the permanent offerings.
Yes.
And back in the day, it was like only in 2/3 of the Speedway stores for whatever reason. A lot of people resorted to ordering them online because of how like difficult it was to get. I think your opinion of it changes based on the rarity.
Oh, for sure. I remember, speaking of just it only being in so many speedways, I remember Speedway taking a lot of pride in how popular that flavor was, because I remember reading that they were bragging almost that people were driving from hours and hours away to come to their stores to buy it. Which is very interesting that would happen. And then all of a sudden, it's not exclusive to Speedway anymore. I think a lot of people didn't think anything of it. They just thought 2 LTO runs, okay, now it's permanent flavor. I think personally, and I can only speculate why this is, I think it might have something to do with 7-Eleven buying Speedway.
Yeah, it's possible.
For whatever reason, I don't know if it's the case also in Canada, but for whatever reason, in the last 5, 6, even longer years, 7-Eleven has not really had Mountain Dew products like they used to that were exclusive to 7-Eleven. Do they still do those in Canada?
No. The last time they did was a 16-ounce ice. It actually had a really cool can. Like those Coors Light cans that turn blue when they're cold?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They were like those, and they were awesome. And I wish I kept one, but I didn't. I'm so sad about that. Yeah, that was the last.
Especially in Canada, 7-Eleven used to do a lot of didn't they do like a mango heat?
Yeah.
Freeze
they did
or something?
The mango. There was mango heat in 16-ounce cans as well as the Slurpee. And they weren't Game Fuel branded. They're just like advertised as a regular Mountain Dew.
I know at one point 7-Eleven had a Supernova freeze, which
during the Democracy days.
Eternally,
I never got to try it though.
Disappointed that I missed that. But just cool stuff like that, and all of a sudden, 7-Eleven has no interest in continuing that. So it makes me wonder if 7-Eleven just doesn't see value in the Mountain Dew brand anymore. So maybe 7-Eleven buys Speedway, this contract's up for renewal. 7-Eleven sees that, they say, we don't need that. We don't need Cyclone, maybe that ties into why those two.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about Cyclone. Cyclone's interesting.
When did Cyclone come? I didn't even make a note of that. Cyclone. I know that was that exclusive to Speedway? It sure was. In May of 2019 was when it showed up.
Wow.
There was a lot of people that were big fans of Cyclone. Did you ever try Cyclone?
I have not, unfortunately. I could have, but like the Speedway I went to, it was in January and they didn't have it anymore. Because, the whole 7-Eleven thing. And it was a very 7-Eleven-ified Speedway. It had like big gulp Slurpees, all that stuff.
So that especially makes me wonder if 7-Eleven really played a part in those, exclusive disappearing, replaced for Major Melon of all flavors. A lot
Major
of
Melon's
people,
good.
Yeah. A lot of people swear up and down that Cyclone was renamed Sangrita Blast. I am not convinced. I would say that Sangrita Blast is to Cyclone as Maui Burst is to Baja Gold, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's very similar. But I can't prove this, but I would say if you had them side by side, I would bet that you would be willing to taste the difference. That said, I think Sangrita Blast was better than Cyclone. I think Cyclone was my least favorite fountain flavor. A lot of people were really upset when Cyclone got discontinued. I wasn't too disappointed about it.
Also, for those who don't know, Sangrita Blast was a former Taco Bell exclusive sold alongside Baja Blast.
True. Released in
stores
it was, once.
Yeah, I think in like 2016, it was sold in stores alongside Baja Blast for the summer.
I think it might have been
some year in the mid 2010s, and then I think it was discontinued on Fountain.
2015 was when it was.
2015, okay.
But it wasn't fountains from 2013 all the way to 2017, and at which point Taco Bell got kind of another. I'm realizing how many technical Taco Bell exclusives I forgot about here, because Sangrita Blast was replaced by Spiked Lemonade on Fountain.
But Spiked Lemonade wasn't initially sold at Taco Bell as an exclusive, right? So it wasn't really exclusive. It was it was exclusive in the fountain form, but not as like canned or bottles or anything.
And the other thing Taco Bell had, while we're talking about Taco Bell had the Typhoon and Distortion Freeze.
Typhoon Freeze sounds really good.
In 2013, September 2013 until June 2014, let me tell you, Typhoon Freeze, fantastic. Distortion Freeze, far and away the best Mountain Dew freeze I have ever had. Distortion on its own is a really good flavor, but the freeze made that flavor shine. I would say those technically would count as Taco Bell exclusives. I mean, you couldn't get them anywhere else.
Yeah, at least the freeze version.
Right.
And I guess at the time, were they like could you get Typhoon and Distortion in like other forms at the time?
This was, let's see. This was more than 2 years. Wait, this was almost 4 years after Typhoon and Distortion lost Democracy 2. They kind of just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, so I guess they were exclusive that year at Taco Bell.
It was a very exciting time for Taco Bell, and then they kind of just faded into nowhere, very, very disappointingly so. Hopefully Taco Bell will bring those back another year.
Hopefully.
Let's see. We were talking about Spark and 7-Eleven. So to jump back on the 7-Eleven train, we've got Solar Flare, which is kind of a big question mark in the Mountain Dew community.
Yeah, so there are 3 known stores that actually still have it. Probably.
That we think.
It's not entirely, well, I guess like there's one of them. I think the one in Hummelsville has an actual like Solar Flare box.
Yes.
And it still tastes fine. It's not like moldy or anything.
Yes. Forget where the other, I think one's in like Virginia or something, but yeah. So Solar Flare has been around since 2014, but it kind of started to fall off the radar. I think it was 2018 or 2019 it started phasing away. Solar Flare is another one of many tropical punch flavors. I had the pleasure of trying it right after it came out, and at the time, I remember thinking that it was a lot like Typhoon. A lot of people will not agree with me, and now it's frequently compared to Southern Shock. But at the time when I had it, Southern Shock wasn't out yet. It reminded me very much of Typhoon. But yeah, it is one of those flavors that it's not technically discontinued, but for all intents and purposes, it is discontinued.
If you walk into the 7-Eleven next to your house, it's not going to be there unless you live in Hummelsville next to the 7-Eleven.
It's one of those things that people ask many times. What is the rarest flavor of Mountain Dew? Which on its own is very subjective, but Solar Flare is definitely a contender for the rarest flavor of Mountain Dew that you can currently get.
That you can currently buy at a store for the retail price.
But so we've got 3 that we know of that currently have Solar Flare. Does that mean it couldn't be somewhere else? No. And by all means, we definitely encourage you to hunt for it. And if you find it somewhere else, let us know. But it's worth noting that I know we've seen several instances where someone has found the sticker for Solar Flare, but then they push it and Major Melon comes out.
Yeah, either Major Melon or Code Red seems to be the two.
Yeah, but as long as you've had those 2 flavors, it will be distinctively different from those 2 flavors if it is in fact 7-Eleven. This portion of today's episode is brought to you by no one actually, but it could be you. If you're interested in sponsoring a portion or entirety of a Team Supernova podcast episode, let us know. Send an email to teamsupernovafb@gmail.com and we'll discuss the details. We are back with more of the Team Supernova podcast. We're talking about exclusives. And next we're going to talk about Bojangles, their exclusive Southern Shock. Darn if you have that one.
I have not, unfortunately.
I've only had it once or twice. 2020 is when that flavor came out. I think is the flavor description. I didn't write it down. I think the flavor description is just another
tropical punch
situation. Yeah. A lot of people, going back to Solar Flare, a lot of people believe that Southern Shock is renamed, relabeled, reformulated. Those all get used interchangeably. Solar Flare.
Yeah.
If Solar Flare is actively still being produced, would they be able to do that? I'm not sure.
That's a great idea.
Which makes me wonder if Southern Shock is Solar Flare. It almost makes me think it's not. It's.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like if it was, then wouldn't they just have like a Solar Flare like at the 7-Eleven? Wouldn't they just have the Southern Shock bib?
Right, like even if it was delivered inadvertently, and particularly, why wouldn't they just call Southern Shock Solar Flare?
Yeah.
If 7-Eleven doesn't care about the exclusives anymore, why not just give the rights to Bojangles? So
yeah, it's like if they made like I don't know, Aqua Burst, if they released that in stores.
Right.
Yeah, instead of like Baja Blast, right?
Yeah. Just like I saw a lot of comparisons this year, not to stray too far from Southern Shock, but I saw a lot of comparisons this year saying, oh, Voodoo tastes just like Spark.
Or Voltage, Sour Voltage.
First of all,
or Typhoon tasting like Baja Punch from last year.
First of all, I disagree. Second of all, you're entitled to your opinion. But I think it is less that Voodoo tastes like Spark or Typhoon tastes like Baja Punch, and more that something sour is tart and you associate it with Spark, and Tropical Punch tastes like Tropical Punch, so you associate it with the Tropical Punch flavor that you like the most. I think that's natural, but I don't think that it means that flavor necessarily tastes like it. Don't even get me started on things tasting like Pitch Black. That's a meme in of itself. But all of that said, I think Southern Shock is its own flavor. How original it is. Mountain Dew loves their Tropical Punch flavors. We'll say that. That said, we have had some interesting developments with Southern Shock in the last, what would you say, couple of weeks or so, Darn?
Yeah, couple weeks, couple months, maybe actually.
I think increasingly over the last however long, we've been getting reports that Southern Shock is just mysteriously not being available at their locations. Even as so far as associates are telling them that they're not going to carry the flavor anymore.
Yeah. That's a common thing with just like a lot of associates just tend to not know exactly what's going on. So it's possible that that is the case, but
it could be one of those things that there's a supply shortage, but it also could be that they are discontinuing it. We have reached out to Bojangles for comment, and they have not responded to the comments. So unfortunately, right now, Southern Shock is kind of in a weird limbo that we don't know if it's staying or if it's going or what. Yeah. One thing I meant to say with Kroger and Thrashed Apple, but now since we're talking about Southern Shock and being in a weird limbo now, one thing that is important to keep in mind with these exclusive flavors, when we thought Thrashed Apple was going away, everybody was freaking out. Oh, Frostbite's going away. Oh, Maui Burst is going away. Oh, Purple Thunder's going away. There is no reason to think that there is a correlation between one exclusive going away, meaning they're all going away. I think we all just need to not worry about that.
Yeah. In fact, Maui Burst, like they're getting 12 packs next year.
True. That is exciting because that is something. Shoot, we saw renders of that in what was it, 2020? It was a while ago we saw those, so that was a long time coming.
Yeah, that's the render that they actually use for the Dew locator is the 12-ounce cans, even though they never existed until next year, apparently.
Maui Burst is, I'm going to get a lot of people angry at me for saying this. Maui Burst is a flavor that I forget exists all the time.
It's something that it's similar to Thrashed Apple in that it's just kind of like one single flavor.
Yep.
It's just like pineapple, and there's not much to it other than just tasting like pineapple. If you like pineapple, great. If you want something more, though, then it kind of leaves a lot to be desired.
Is it a bad flavor?
No.
Is it the best exclusive flavor Mountain Dew offers? No.
I don't think so. I mean, it could be your favorite.
Yeah, right.
You have the right to think that it's the best one.
For sure.
We just disagree.
It does. The one thing I will give it credit for, I said this about Thrashed Apple. I'll say this about Maui. I think I'd say it of any single flavored Mountain Dew flavor, it does complement alcohol very well. If you want to, throw some flavored rum in there, you got yourself a good mixed drink. However, on its own, you like pineapple, you like Mountain Burst.
Yeah.
Just for me, growing up having Typhoon, it's just like I would rather have strawberry and pineapple, not just pineapple. Like, give me something. You know,
and for me, I tried Baja Flash first. I thought it was the best when I tried it for the first time. And then I tried Maui Burst after, and I was like, wait, this is just the pineapple flavoring from Baja Flash without the coconut. This isn't as good.
Yep. Not even to mention Maui Burst 2 Electric Boogaloo, aka Baja Gold.
Yeah. They really dropped the ball with that one, honestly. They just released Pineapple Baja. It just tasted a lot like Maui Burst. It's not exactly the same. There's some differences, but
some people defended that to the end of the earth, which I can't. I will give the Baja Gold defenders this much. There is definitely a difference between Baja Gold and Maui Burst. Is it a difference that justifies the existence of Baja Gold? Not in my opinion, no. I had to drink them side by side with each other to be able to differentiate them. It is a good flavor. I will give it that. However, as petty as I am, Baja Gold is in the F tier just because to me that is so lazy of them. And I wish we could have gotten more. You put it where?
Oh, I put it like basically right next to Maui Burst on my tier list, but that's because I'm basing them on flavor and not off of the principle. Since you're basing it off the principle of it being rebranded Maui Burst, that makes sense for you.
Yeah, we'll have to get into that in another episode. That is not the only instance where principle has affected my tier list. Just to give you a little teaser, I am a very petty bitch, and that is the only reason Voltage is not in S tier. Anyway, that's enough. That's
because
another discussion.
Voltage beat Supernova.
Oh yeah. Let's see, what other exclusives have we not talked about? We have not talked about one of my favorite exclusives that exists, and that is Dark Berry Bash at Applebee's.
That one's a good one.
Oh my gosh. I know a lot of our listeners have probably not had the original Dark Berry from way back. I think it was 2012 for Batman. But I've got to tell you, a lot of people say, I know you say, I think that it reminds you of Pepsi Blue, right?
Yeah, to me it tastes like if they took the flavoring of Pepsi Blue and took out the Pepsi.
I always think of that first when I think about Dark Berry Bash. I've heard comparisons to Voltage. I've heard comparisons to Pitch Black. That one doesn't count. I've heard lots of comparisons, but to me, it just unlocks some sort of secret, deep down nostalgia that I had for Dark Berry. I can't even explain it, but it just reminds me so much of it, and it is such a tasty flavor. I will get Applebee's just for Dark Berry Bash, and that is saying a lot because I know people have some opinions about Applebee's food.
Yeah. I haven't eaten at Applebee's in a very long time. The last time I went to Applebee's, I got DoorDash just fountain drinks and then left.
DoorDash doesn't even really charge very much for the fountain drinks, do they?
Well, for me, it was $3 each.
Oh.
Yeah. I guess it depends on your location.
I want to say out here, I think I got 4 and it ended up being about $5. Which that is awesome.
Yeah, I would absolutely abuse that.
Oh, for sure.
Dark Berry Bash is a really good flavor.
And even I've seen pictures. I've not tried it. There is a mixed drink. It's a dragon fruit something for dark berry bash. I don't remember what it's called. I didn't save the picture. I tried to order it one time and the waitress said, "We've never had that." So like I
don't actually recall it having anything with dragon fruit. It just had the word dragon in the name. Forgot the name, but I know it had lime in it, which
I do think it had dragon fruit syrup. It was like dragon fruit syrup and vodka and dark berry bash. Or it was right. We have to look that up after we're done with this but I don't know if it still exists in any capacity. But it is cool that the restaurants are utilizing their exclusives in that way. I think that's really cool.
Speaking of, have you tried the legendary Long Island at Buffalo Wild Wings?
I have not.
Oh, that's a shame.
I have heard very good things about the legendary Long Island at Buffalo Wild Wings. I have tried Legend, but I have not tried the legendary Long Island. What are you have you tried Legend at Buffalo?
I have tried Legend. I feel like it was a little bit low on syrup because it didn't feel as syrupy as other Mountain Dews I've had, which is kind of unfortunate. But I did definitely taste the blackberry. The blackberry's good. And a little bit of ginger in there.
So you can confirm that Legend does not taste like pitch black.
No, it does not taste like pitch black.
I have only had Legend DoorDashed. So I feel like by the time I got it, it was watered down. So I am skeptical to be critical of it. You know, like I feel like I haven't given it a fair chance. I know there are a lot of people in the community that think very highly, and some people that have it right at the top of their list. So I feel like I need to give it a fair chance before I even try to give my opinion of it. That said, considering that what I had was watered down, it is very tasty. Definitely the little hint of ginger in there is awesome.
Yeah.
I have no idea how anyone gets pitch black from that.
Well, it's black, so duh.
Obviously, it is confirmed pitch black. We're just going to go ahead and lock that in at 100% confirmed pitch black.
Absolutely. Speaking of pitch black, Purple Thunder is another flavor that is commonly associated with pitch black.
Yeah. One of my favorite flavors that has released this year, Purple Thunder, the blackberry berry plum.
Yeah. It is officially berry plum in the United States. In Canada, it was blackberry plum, but that might just be because they needed to give it a berry name for the French. But I mean, it does kind of taste like more mixed berry than just blackberry. There's less blackberry than like
than Legend.
Legend, yeah.
I would say I don't really get blackberry from it. However, what I will say about Purple Thunder is everything I ever hoped for in a plum flavored Mountain Dew, and then so much more. Purple Thunder is delicious.
It is really good, yeah. At first, I kind of couldn't get into it, but then like I drank it more, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I start to understand it.
And I know we were talking a little bit about it before the show. Purple Thunder is one of those very rare flavors. I actually don't know another flavor that I could say this about. I think I prefer it on fountain than in the bottle. And this will tie into another conversation that we'll have in another episode. Shout out to the Reddit user that left that question for us. You're awesome. But something about the Purple Thunder on fountain really does that flavor justice.
I have not had it in fountain, but I have had it in both cans and bottles. I will say I do slightly prefer it in bottles. They taste exactly the same, but the carbonation just feels rounder in bottles.
Okay.
Works better with the plum.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Also releasing this year, we have Overdrive.
Another tropical punch.
AKA Fuzzy's Brew.
Yep.
Exclusively released at Casey's General Stores this year. I think, what was it, about June that it came out this year?
Yeah. Sometime, I think, early summer.
And I will say, in terms of Overdrive is the only flavor that has released this year that I haven't tried. I know you have tried it, Darn, so I'm curious to see what your thoughts on it are.
It actually tastes like, so the official flavors are raspberry, lime, and mango, which sound to me like incredible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was not incredible. It just kind of tastes like a generic homogenized fruit punch, but like in a different way. Like you can kind of taste the.
Would you say any of the fruits stand out more than the others?
Not particularly.
That to me is disappointing.
Yeah, I feel like if like I could individually taste the lime, raspberry, and mango in there, I feel like I'd have a much better experience with it. But it just kind of tastes homogenous.
That's too bad.
Kind of disappointed. A lot of people like it though, but
yeah. Casey's said on Twitter that it would be exclusive to Casey's. They used really weird verbiage at first, and I asked for confirmation. I think they just said it was through 2024. So I responded and just said, to confirm, on January 1st, 2025, it will no longer be exclusive to Casey's, but you will still carry it, correct? And they said, yes, that is the case.
Yeah. So it is confirmed to be the only flavor, the only exclusive flavor that is not going to be exclusive after a set period of time.
Right. I think that technically makes our first timed exclusive in a sense. However, what that means for Overdrive in 2025, we're not entirely sure yet. Whether it'll just be that it'll show up at other gas stations, or if it'll be that the fountain bibs will be available, or if it'll be a nationwide, nationally available flavor.
Same way that Spark was got like cans and bottles everywhere, even in Canada too.
It's right now, I feel like it's one of those things that just, I assume that Pepsi will be watching the sales for that in 2023 and 2024. And if it does well, I wouldn't be surprised if that became one of our next national flavors. I think it'll
did as well as Spark did, because I remember hearing that in 2020 when it first released that it was really difficult to get a hold of.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, just because of how people really wanted to buy it.
Yes. So Walmart has technically a couple, if you want to count Walmart and Sam's Club. We'll talk about Sam's Club first. Sam's Club has Berry Monsoon on the fountains. 2018 is when the initial one came out. I think Zero Sugar was the next year or the year after. Not entirely.
I thought it was last year that the Zero Sugar came out.
That could be.
It was one of the few times where a Zero Sugar alternative came out at a different time than the initial release.
Berry Monsoon is a pretty good flavor. However, I don't find myself going out of my way to get it, if that makes sense.
So the first time, my friend was in Hawaii. They had a Sam's Club there. And I asked him to bottle up a bottle for me. And it was like very much not as dark as other people's pictures of it was. And it tasted like Flintstones vitamins.
Oh.
I was very disappointed. And it was very watered down. And then the second time in January of this year, I was down in Florida, went to Sam's Club, and then like the fountain, it had issues and there was no syrup coming out. And then more recently in September, I went to Great Falls, Montana, where they have a Sam's Club. Went there wearing a Kirkland shirt. Very funny. And again, the syrup wasn't there. There's no syrup. Wow. So I am 0-3 on trying Berry Monsoon.
Wow.
And it's berry lime. Berry and lime are two of my favorite flavors. I really want to try it, but I can't because they're always out of syrup or the machine's messing up.
I know I've seen other people share the same experience with you, that they just don't have it for whatever reason. So I don't know if that's just a Sam's Club thing, or is it a Berry Monsoon thing, or it's interesting. I don't really know what is going on with that.
Oh, yeah. I should also mention that a lot of people seem to compare Berry Monsoon to berry lime game fuel from back in the day.
Yes, I've heard that comparison many a times.
Would you have you tried that one?
I have it. I will say it didn't give me the nostalgia from it, but also that berry lime game fuel had released so far before it that I don't know that I could fairly make the comparison.
Okay.
The other thing I will say about Sam's Club and Berry Monsoon is there seems to be a common misconception with Sam's Club, and it doesn't help that it seems like it's perpetuated by some of the associates. You do not have to have a Sam's Club membership to utilize their cafe.
Yes.
So if you are out there thinking, man, I got to go get a Sam's Club membership so I can go get Berry Monsoon, don't. You don't need it. Don't let them tell you you do.
I've been able to buy fountain cups, no problem. So
yes.
Yeah.
So definitely,
I think legally, if like they're a restaurant, I don't think you have to have a membership. Or like if they're still giving you a hard time, tell them that you're going to the pharmacy, because they cannot restrict you from going to a pharmacy because you didn't pay for a membership. So save that $60 and just go for it. Oh, we should probably mention another Sam's Club exclusive or ish. Baja Blast 36 and 24 packs.
I totally forgot about that. You started that sentence and I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And those kind of just started showing up, what, 2 years ago? 1 or 2 years ago? Completely unannounced. Just all of a sudden, here's Baja Blast at Sam's Club outside after the normal Baja summer window. Like, that was a complete surprise to me. That was completely awesome. It's a nice little extension to Baja summer, if you will.
Yeah. If you're the type of person to buy a bunch of Baja Blast every year, just stock up for when they go out of sale. Go to a wholesale store during autumn-ish.
Yeah.
I've heard that Costco and like other wholesale stores similar to those also carry Baja Blast, but Sam's Club seems to be the most prevalent, the most common.
Yes. Real quick though, let's cover Sweet Lightning at KFC. I know that's Lightning a real popular one. Actually, I should say Sweet Lightning is a very polarizing one.
It is polarizing, yeah. A lot of people don't like it.
So Sweet
Peach
Lightning,
honey.
Yep.
Yeah. And it is also half diet, which a lot of people
talked about that at all. I don't think any of the flavors we've talked about so far have been half diet.
Oh, actually, Berry Monsoon is half diet.
That's right. And you know what? Berry Monsoon doesn't even really get the hate for being half diet.
No.
I will admit, I did not like Sweet Lightning the first time I had it. But I have the rule that I will try any flavor twice. So I retried it, and something changed, and I'm a fan of Sweet Lightning. I do wish the honey flavor was a little bit stronger, but I do really, really enjoy Sweet Lightning.
It's really good if you're eating KFC food while you're there.
They designed that formula to pair with the food incredibly well. I know, or so we think, Sweet Lightning appeared to be slated for a release, I think this year in bottles. But for whatever reason, that was scrapped.
Yeah, it was supposed to release in summer at the same time as Baja Blast. It was going to be Double Drop Summer, I believe was the title. It was going to release Baja Blast Zero Sugar, Sweet Lightning, and Sweet Lightning Zero Sugar.
Which that would have been awesome.
Yeah. And I've heard about a sighting of actually a test restaurant that has Sweet Lightning Zero Sugar. But I cannot confirm it. So take that with a grain of salt. It'd be interesting to see, although
yes,
Sweet Lightning doesn't need a zero sugar because it's already half diet. Same with Berry Monsoon, though.
I think if you're giving Sweet Lightning a zero sugar, you need to bump the half diet up to full sugar. I think that is a good compromise there. It absolutely makes me wonder what we saw about Double Drop Summer almost made it seem like there was going to be some sort of voting between Sweet Lightning and Baja Blast, which, first of all, there's no world in which Baja Blast doesn't win by over 30% between Baja Blast and Sweet Lightning.
I feel like that's the way with any flavor. It's just that popular. But especially Sweet Lightning, such a polarizing flavor, and then a universally loved Baja Blast. So there's no way it could lose.
So part of it makes me wonder if that influenced it. And part of it for me is I wonder if it was just something that was concepted and KFC saw it and they said, absolutely not. We don't want that. Like it's one of those things that all we can do is speculate. But I would not be surprised if somehow, some way that had some influence on what happened with Sweet Lightning,
Absolutely. And another thing too is just that like Sweet Lightning isn't as popular as Baja Blast. So I don't see it anytime soon becoming the same way Baja Blast is with a retail release regularly. The last time they did that was Sangrita Blast for only 1 year.
And even that didn't do particularly well, I don't think. I can only assume they would have continued to give it more retail launches if it had done well. I would be surprised, genuinely, if any other flavor got the Baja Blast treatment. We'll get into that in a few moments. This portion of today's episode is brought to you by Snackbuster by Panox. Unfortunately, Snackbuster is going to be closing very soon, but right now, until at least December 31st, you can use promo code CLOSING for 7% off your entire order of exotic snacks and sodas. There are great deals, including European Supernova and more. Be sure to check it out before it's too late. Once again, that's Snackbuster by Panox, exclusively available to members of the Do Drinker Discord, available at discord.gg/do.
We are back.
So we were just talking about Berry Monsoon at Sam's. And speaking of Berry Monsoon and Sam's, big exclusive at Walmart, we've got Frostbite and Frostbite Zero Sugar. Frostbite is one of those weird flavors that it doesn't have the flavor description on the can.
Yeah, no, the flavor description is on the Walmart's website, but not on the not on any physical product that you buy.
The Walmart's website describes it as cool melon. Am I correct in believing that?
Yeah, a lot of people say that it tastes specifically like honeydew. I don't really get it, honestly.
I don't see it either.
It's like kind of there. To me, it just tastes like sugar water with a hint of melon. Not watermelon, but the other types of melon.
I think I would call it like honeydew adjacent.
Maybe. Yeah, it's honeydew adjacent, but it doesn't taste like honeydew. Oh, I should mention this year next year. I mean, there was supposed to be a flavor of Mountain Dew called Honey Dew.
Yes.
Which I was very excited for. And I'm so disappointed that they canceled it.
Yes. I think that's part of where people saying that it was honeydew flavor ties into, because I think there was some speculation that it was canceled because of the similarity. But yeah, I'm not convinced. I think there's more to it than that.
Absolutely.
But I will note, unlike Walmart's first exclusive with Typhoon and the 2 liters, this is not exclusive to just Walmart supercenters. It's Walmart neighborhood markets, Walmart supercenters, all Walmarts in between have Frostbite. They don't all have Frostbite Zero Sugar, though.
Frostbite Zero Sugar is a lot more difficult to come by for some reason.
Even in my area, it was gone for more than a year, and then it kind of popped back up. But I've noticed in the last month or so, it has disappeared again. I'm really not sure if it's just that it's not as popular, or if it's a supply issue, or what the deal is, but for some reason, it seems like Frostbite Zero Sugar is one of those that is a little bit rarer, just in terms of not being in the stores that it is supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, for Frostbite as a whole, I'm going to make people mad again. I'm not a fan of Frostbite. I'll be honest.
It just I feel like Mountain Dew's supposed to punch you in the face with flavor, right? Frostbite does not do that at all. Punches you in the face with sweetness, but not flavor. There's not a lot of nuance to it. It's just kind of bland, generic.
I don't really understand when people use the descriptor of watered down when they are talking about a soda. However, I can kind of understand why someone would call Frostbite watered down.
Yeah.
It's just, it's one of those things that I don't find myself going back to it at all.
Yeah. One comparison that is made often that I absolutely do not agree with whatsoever is that it tastes like voltage.
That's an insult to voltage, if you ask me.
How? The only similarity is that they're both blue, but they're not even the same.
They're not the same shade of blue.
Frostbite is like a dark, deep blue.
Yeah, they are not the same shade of blue. That is worse than some of the taste like pitch black comparisons I see.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So moving right along with our exclusive...
Actually, I should probably mention that I did look up the Applebee's cocktail.
Right.
It's called Space Dragon. It is vodka, dark berry bash, lime juice, and Monin dragon fruit syrup.
It does sound pretty good. I'm disappointed I couldn't try it.
You were correct about it being dragon fruit. And yeah, I do want to try it as well. But I'm a minor in the United States.
Huh.
I'm not 21. I am legally allowed to drink in Canada where I live, but not in the United States, which is unfortunate. Yeah. I'm legally allowed to drive in both countries, and I have.
Speaking of blue flavors, Atomic Blue.
Blue raspberry lemonade flavor.
So it was initially at both Sheetz and Come and Go. I paused so everyone can laugh at the name. Haha, funny.
It is spelled in a very comical way.
So, I have never actually tried Atomic Blue. My Come and Goes replaced it with Major Melon before I could try it. Have you tried Atomic Blue?
I have not either. I do really like Spark, so I wish I could try it.
It's one of those flavors that it sounds really good, but also I have almost not heard anything positive about it at all.
Yeah, a lot of people. I think it's a lot heavier on the lemonade side of things, but also I heard I can't confirm this, but I've heard that it is actually a mixture. So it's like blue raspberry mixed with lemonade, like it actually is, or just some sort of blue syrup mixed with lemonade.
Huh.
Kind of like Electric Apple, but like it actually has like a logo and stuff. I don't
Interesting.
know. And it's on fountain instead of
Yeah.
just being poured into a glass and stirred.
So Atomic Blue is exclusive to Sheets now, along with Fountain Pitch Black is also exclusive to Sheets, which is weird. But I haven't tried it. Darn hasn't tried it. So there's not really a whole lot we can really say about it other than that. So let's move on to exclusive that I know angered a lot of people. It's an exclusive, I think, that really fueled the stop making exclusives debate. And that, of course, is Uproar.
Yeah.
Funny enough, at Food Lion.
Yeah, there's not a lot of Food Lion stores at all.
All kind of in the southeast area of the country. Is that a good way of saying it?
Southeast.
I believe Mountain Dew Uproar is described as berry kiwi.
Yeah.
Correct. And I've got to say, I'm disappointed that I don't have more readily available access to it, because Uproar is far and away the best flavor I had last year of the new flavors in 2021.
I don't necessarily agree with you.
You don't?
But it is really good. I preferred Baja Flash, and I will say that it tastes a lot like Baja Punch if you added strawberry and kiwi flavors to it.
Okay.
That's my take on it anyway.
Still
really good.
Part of why I like Uproar so much, I think, is just that I appreciate how kiwi forward it is. Which is a weird way of saying it, but like, I saw berry kiwi and I figured it would be berry with a hint of kiwi in the aftertaste. But no, that kiwi punches you in the face, and it's incredible.
It's great.
We have, I think, one or two more exclusives to talk about, and then we'll get back to why people are so angry about exclusives and why I think they're not going anywhere. But first, let's talk about Vibe. This is another one that I see a lot of people talking very poorly about.
Yeah.
Lots of people not a fan of lemon. I've seen it described as lemon, and I've seen it described as lemonade, both from which, but
yeah,
I would personally describe it as lemonade. Have you tried Vibe, Darn?
No, I have not tried it. I will say that I think there's a distinction between lemon and lemonade flavored stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, because lemon tastes like lemon. I don't know. There's like lemon flavoring, and then lemonade tastes like, you made a glass of lemonade.
Typically, like when I think of lemon and I think of lemonade, I think of lemonade having a little bit more sweetness to it. For me, when I had Vibe, in the way that you described Gold as tasting like Flash without the coconut, Vibe to me tastes like Spark without the raspberry. And while there are a lot of people that really don't like Vibe, I like it. And it makes me wonder if it's not that people don't like these flavors, and if it's just that people don't like tart flavors.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. I will say that Voodoo was actually very popular, considering its tartness.
Yes, that is true. I gotta give it that.
It could be that it's just like people got tired of like just the sickeningly sweet Voodoos, and they wanted something different.
New. Yeah, which it was a very pleasant and welcome change to the Voodoo line. I was a big fan of this year's Voodoo.
I think it's my favorite one.
Okay, so our last exclusive we haven't talked about yet. Another big one. Really, do we count it as an exclusive is the question. Goji Citrus Strawberry.
I wouldn't call it an exclusive because it's just like, I feel like anywhere realistically could get it.
Yes.
if they ordered it.
And I have seen it at some locally owned restaurants where I live.
Yeah, there's this gas station I once went to, like completely just locally owned gas station, no branding or nothing. And they had goji citrus strawberry.
Well, see, that's awesome. It is a delicious flavor. It is half diet, which it draws criticism for that. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't know it was half diet until I saw other people complaining that it was half diet. I think
Yeah.
it's delicious.
Yeah, I tried it as well before learning that it was half diet. And yeah, no, it doesn't taste half diet at all to me. In the same, like it tastes less diet than Sweet Lightning.
Absolutely. It's one of those flavors that I would love to see in bottles and cans. And I think it's more feasible than the other flavors in bottles and cans.
Absolutely.
I think it would be great.
I can't imagine that there's actually like any exclusivity contracts or anything preventing it from being in bottles.
I'm sure not there can't be if local restaurants are able to get it and whoever else. So they're not quite exclusives, but I feel like they're worth mentioning.
It's exclusive to the bag and box form factor at the very least, but not necessarily exclusive to a singular brand or franchise.
Speaking of things that aren't exclusive, but we wanted to still mention them in this episode, we've got some flavors that are kind of exclusive to being international.
That is true.
So we've got Malaysian Pitch Black, which I will go on record in saying is awful.
I absolutely agree as well. It is half diet. I didn't notice the taste of the half diet, but I do not like grape sodas, at least like traditional ones. I like American Pitch Black, but Malaysian Pitch Black just ain't it for me.
For me, and this is a shared criticism between Malaysian Pitch Black and Malaysian Blue Shock, which that's another exclusive. I won't even get into it now, but Blue Shock Freeze. I don't even know where all that is in the United States. I know it's still out there.
Oh yeah, it's like in the same vein as the 7-Eleven one.
Yeah,
I forgot about it. Solar Flare. Yeah.
But Malaysian Pitch Black and Malaysian Blue Shock. Biggest thing for me, there's no carbonation in it, and that just makes it. If I had a Soda Stream and I could, run it through that, maybe that'd be cool. But that just kills it for me. It kills it for me.
For me, carbonation isn't as big of a deal for like Mountain Dew. I feel like they don't taste worse if the carbonation isn't there, like as a cola would be.
Yeah, like Faygo Cola.
Yeah. Oh, Faygo Cola tastes like flat Coke that was recarbonated. It's awful.
Faygo Cola is objectively the worst cola ever.
Sorry, worst Faygo. Cola I've ever had. Absolutely.
Sorry, Faygo. Yeah. In terms of international Dew flavors, we've also got Passion Fruit Frenzy, which
could I still talk about Blue Shock?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. In Canada, it's actually a Slurpee right now. Yeah, it's just blue raspberry. There's actually a drink here in Canada, 7 Select Blue Raspberry Soda. Tastes pretty much exactly like Malaysian Blue Shock to me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know Blue Shock Freeze exists in some capacity in the United States. I'm told there's a Circle K in my city that has it, but my city has like 37 Circle Ks. So wow. It's kind of a matter of narrowing that down.
Good luck finding it.
Yeah. Hopefully.
A lot of people compare it to Voltage, but I disagree.
Heard that. I don't agree either.
Voltage tastes like they put like it has like a citrus taste to it.
Yeah.
It's got like the ginseng.
Yep.
And yeah, it just tastes way different, honestly. I feel like a lot of flavors of Mountain Dew, they do it differently than how other sodas are.
Yes.
Voltage is a good example of a blue raspberry soda made by Mountain Dew that isn't really like any other blue raspberry sodas.
It is definitely not your average blue raspberry soda.
Blue Shock, on the other hand, I would say is your average
blue
raspberry. Yeah.
Yes.
It's good, but it doesn't taste like Mountain Dew to me, you know?
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. All right.
So Passion Fruit Frenzy is exclusive, I believe, to New Zealand.
Yeah.
I hated it at first, but then I continued to drink it, and it definitely grew on me. It's one of those things that I got once, and I was like, okay, import shops charge a lot of money for this. I don't want to buy it again, but it is a decent flavor.
I've not had it.
You haven't,
fortunately, but I am looking forward to next year trying the passion fruit Baja Blast that's coming out.
I'm hopeful that it'll be like Baja Blast's take on Passion Fruit Frenzy. I think there's a lot of potential there. I think that one's going to be really, really tasty.
Yeah. So also in New Zealand, they have a Code Red.
Yes.
It's not cherry. It is berry flavored. And some people call it cola-like.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not sure why, though.
Have you tried that one?
I am not. Have you?
I haven't.
So I guess we can't say much about it.
Nope.
I do hear that it is a lot worse than than our version of Code Red.
I have heard that too.
Yeah, it is a very unpopular take on Code Red. Probably like the most unpopular regional exclusive.
Then again, Code Red itself, I would argue, gets a lot of undeserved hate.
As a Code Red stan, I agree.
Code Red does not deserve hate.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Now, speaking of things that deserve hate, Mountain Dew Supernova, exclusively available in Finland, is an insult to Mountain Dew Supernova. You heard it here first. But no, is it lemon raspberry? Is that what it is?
Yeah, lemon raspberry. So you might think, wait, is that Spark? Not really.
That takes us back to lemon versus lemonade, I think.
Yeah, actually, great point. I feel like it is absolutely a good example of the difference between lemon and lemonade flavored products. Because Supernova, like Finland Supernova, to me, tastes like voltage with a little bit of like not good lemon flavoring.
Yes.
I haven't had the original Supernova, but I hope to one day.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Come to Canada next year, please.
For real. The other thing I would say about Supernova versus Spark is, and I'm sure part of it is just the ingredients that are used in Finland, but Supernova is a lot more smooth than Spark, in my opinion.
Well, it could be just like the lemonade part, right?
Yeah.
This is very tart. Spark is tart. Supernova, not so much, really.
Definitely.
The raspberry does taste a lot like voltage, though.
Supernova, it's just one of those things that if it was not named Supernova, I'd probably love this flavor. It goes back to me tiering flavors based on principle and that flavor. But I will swear by the fact that it is an insult to Supernova to call it that. Okay, let's see what else we have. Exclusive giveaways. Are we talking like Baja Deep Dive or?
Yeah, Baja Deep Dive could be one. I think the Pitch Black giveaway in 2015. Do you have info on that? Were you part of that?
I received, so it was like the baby bottles, as I like to call them. The 16-ounce Pitch Black. I received it, but the funny thing is I don't remember why I received it. I don't know what I did to receive it. I think it was a Twitter giveaway. Which, Pepsi is infamous for Twitter giveaways at this point. I'm glad that for the most part, Mountain Dew has kind of stayed away from those less Baja Deep Dive.
Other than Baja Deep Dive, there was also the Cake Smash giveaway before it released on the Dew store.
That is right. I completely forgot that they did the giveaway first. Deep Dive, at least, and I'm sure there are some people out there that did not win, but for the most part, it does seem like everyone that entered to win Deep Dive did win. So that to me is very exciting.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest giveaway that Pepsi's done with 18,000 cases of 6.
Yes.
And the rules were supposed to be like 1 per person. But we all know that didn't happen.
Yeah. Didn't someone end up with like 6 or 8 cases or something like that?
Yeah, it was nuts. I only got 2, but
yeah, I got 2 as well.
Or actually, no, was it 2? I forget. Why did I get 2? Or maybe I just got 1. Actually, no, I just got 1. Yeah, I forgot.
And on that note, that kind of takes us over to the online exclusive flavors, which of course, Flamin' Hot, Typhoon, Cake Smash, and most recently, Ghosts of Voodoo Past Variety Pack, which is still available on the Dew store.
Yeah, I think they have like a little more than 3,000 to go, and it's December.
Last I checked. In a sense, it surprises me that it's still there, but it also doesn't surprise me that people are not buying it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the hype's gone because it's not Halloween anymore.
As a whole, I would say, I know there's a lot of negative energy directed at the Dew store. I've been pretty happy with all the releases so far. Cake Smash and Flamin' Hot kind of flopped in terms of functionality of the website.
Yeah, but they sold out instantly. They didn't have enough stock to keep everyone who wanted it getting it.
But with Typhoon and Ghosts of Voodoo Past, they definitely fixed the errors with like the website breaking, selling out instantly. Typhoon, they overcorrected a little bit, I think.
Yeah, they did a lot better of a job with Ghosts of Voodoo Past. It's still in stock if you want it, which is actually great if you missed out on it.
Yes.
Missed out on the Voodoos that came out.
Definitely. So on that note, I think
we didn't actually talk about them like specifically. We didn't talk about the flavors
of Ghosts of Voodoo Past,
or just like the Dew stores in general.
That's true. So
Cake Smash was all right, I guess.
I'm gonna make people mad again. Cake Smash, in my opinion, I'll preface it with in my opinion, Cake Smash is the second worst flavor of Mountain Dew ever created. For me, it just reminds me too much of Birthday Cake Bang.
I guess if you're traumatized by that makes sense. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I mean, I've only tried it once. It just tastes like Mountain Dew with birthday cake flavoring. I mean, they could have done a better job with it. I think there's a lot of missed potential there, but it's not terrible. I don't hate it. I'd drink it if someone were to offer it to me.
I am curious. You know, they send the surveys out each time they do a new store drop. And they ask, would you like to see this released in stores?
No.
Well, honestly. as we know, Cake Smash wasn't released in stores. So it makes me wonder, did people get these cases of Cake Smash and say no on that poll?
Probably.
I know there's a lot of people disappointed that Cake Smash didn't get a retail store release, excuse me, and it just makes me curious why that is. We know that Flaming Hot, the retail store release was pre-planned.
Yeah.
So we know that had nothing to do with anything in the Dew store reception, but Cake Smash, I'm not really sure.
I feel like a lot of the demand for Cake Smash might just be that they haven't had it yet.
And they want to try it.
Yeah. And that would be a way to try it, but I feel like there would be better things to put in that retail release slot than Cake Smash.
Like Flamin' Hot.
Like Flamin' Hot. Yeah, that's
God,
a good flavor.
We just need to title this episode Tebow pisses everyone off with his awful takes.
Yeah. I feel like we have similar takes, especially on Flamin' Hot.
Yes. Have you had Dew Store Flamin' Hot?
No, I have a can, but I have not tried it yet.
Let me tell you, man, both are good. I've got to say, I've got them right side by side on my tier list. But man, Dew Store Flamin' Hot is so much spicier than retail, and I love that.
Well, this month I plan on cracking it open though, so I'll let you know how it is.
It is one of those things that it's bound to be polarizing just at its core, and I am here for it. I hope that they never stop doing the gimmicky flavors. I love them. They're awesome. I would even go as far to say Flamin' Hot's not a gimmicky flavor, but I know it kind of is at its core.
Yeah. A lot of people compare it to Cheetos, which is absolutely not on the mark whatsoever.
I am convinced that anyone that says it tastes like Cheetos has not tasted it.
Absolutely. I've tried the retail one. It tastes like lime. That's very good. I love lime flavored stuff. Flamin' Hot is one of those.
I haven't really talked to a lot of people that have had distortion back in the day, but to me, it does very much taste like a spicy distortion, and that I love that about
distortion. Is at the top of my flavor bucket list. I definitely want to try that at some point. Please re-release it on the Dew Store, Mountain Dew, if you're listening to this.
Yes. I think that takes us right into Typhoon.
Yeah, Typhoon. It says tropical punch on the can, but it's pineapple and strawberry. Yep. Definitely a lot more pineapple than strawberry, but
which is interesting because when it released for Democracy, it was definitely more strawberry than pineapple. But I don't think it was an unwelcome change.
I like it. I feel like it could be better, but it's not bad. I'd buy it. I would buy it if it was like on a retail shelf. Yeah.
I was surprised by the amount of people that I saw get Typhoon and then say, this is kind of mid, to be honest.
Yeah.
I saw that a lot. And it might just be that we build up these expectations so high for these legacy flavors that we expect them to be deity tier flavors, and they're just as good as all the other flavors. I think part of it's just we set our expectations too high for them.
It's like because it's unobtainable, because like how much you have to effort to put into getting it these days, it's a lot better than it actually is to a lot of people.
Yes.
Watch Revolution come back and people call it mid.
I'm waiting for Pitch Black to come back and people call it mid. To be honest with you.
Oh yeah, people are gonna do that. What are your thoughts on Baja Deep Dive?
Ooh, Baja Deep Dive. I will be the contrarian here and disagree with everyone that says it is Baja Blast and Pitch Black mixed and tell you that I believe it is Baja Blueberry.
I agree with that. It does taste very blueberry-like, but it's good. It's really good.
I like it. I don't think that they will ever officially reveal the flavor.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, did they reveal it yet? I don't think they would. They do that for Voodoo, but that's kind of the gimmick. They never said that they would reveal Baja Deep Dive.
Only way that I see them revealing Baja Deep Dive's flavor is if, 2025, 2026 rolls around. The yearly Baja spinoffs come up, which, let's be honest, they're never going to stop doing Baja spinoffs.
Yeah.
Let's say there's Baja spinoffs come up 25, 26, maybe they'll say, hey, this was Baja Deep Dive this many years ago, but I don't think they would name it Baja Deep Dive. I think they'd call it something else, you know? Like maybe that'd be a situation that we get a flavor reveal, but other than that, I don't think we get one.
Yeah, I agree. Although, yeah, a lot of people were definitely thrown a loop by putting the Baja Blast, no, not Baja Blast, Pitch Black bottle on the can art.
Yeah. For me, I just took that as a tease of what's to come. Particularly since we had the pitch black bottles being very subtly teased in the I don't remember what was it called, the Voodoo Emporium.
Oh yeah, you could see the Baja. No, the Baja. I keep mixing that up. Pitch Black bottles with the green cap, which is
all I'm gonna say
new
about
design next year.
All I'm gonna say about that is whoever works in Mountain Dew marketing, I'm giving you a 0 out of 10 for calling it Mountain Dew Emporium and not calling it Doomporium.
Yeah.
That's a fat L for you. I'm sorry, but it is. Anyway.
Yeah. And then after that is just the Voodoo. The Voodoos, which are just Voodoos.
Yeah.
Tall cans. The designs look awesome, though. Yeah, I love what they did with them. They didn't have to change it because the designs look pretty good as is.
Yeah.
But then they just went the extra mile, and I absolutely commend them for that.
I agree with you. I don't know what else there is to say about Ghost of Voodoo Pest. I think it really spoke for itself. All right. The last thing we're talking about on the show today is something else that's going to probably make some people upset. We are talking about the exclusives you don't like and that you want them to stop making. We're talking about why they're not going anywhere.
Yep.
So one of the biggest reasons, I'm sure all of you want to know, why does Pepsi keep making these exclusives? Part of it is the exclusive flavors like Dark Berry Bash, Vibe, Which, Sweet Lightning, and KFC. It helps build a partnership between Pepsi and these restaurants. And, you know, the restaurants see the success of Baja Blast and they say, well, I want that. I want to recreate that magic. Obviously, no one will recreate the magic of Baja Blast, but they want that too. They want a special, secret, exclusive flavor. So when Pepsi makes these flavors to build that partnership with the restaurant, they're not going to just take that away from the restaurant to either put it on the store shelves, or they are not going to just tell a restaurant no when they come to Pepsi, you know, wanting to strengthen that partnership.
Yeah. And another thing too is like a lot of these restaurants, you know, would you ever go to Applebee's again in your life if they didn't have Dark Berry Bash?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. I wouldn't have gone to Applebee's when I went to Great Falls to pick up those Dark Berry Bashes if they didn't have it. If I was more open-minded to trying their food again, then I would have had a meal there, which I would not have otherwise if they didn't have Mountain Dew there.
Yeah. I think that sums it up really well. One of the other arguments that I see very often when we talk about exclusives is you see people asking, why don't you just get rid of the exclusives and put all the flavors on all the shelves in all the stores? Well, let me tell you why that's a problem. See, we've got Baja Blast, we've got Sweet Lightning, Dark Berry Bash, Vibe, Southern Shock, Legend, Atomic Blue, Purple Thunder, Overdrive, Maui Burst, Frostbite, Uproar, Berry Monsoon, Thrashed Apple. That's like 14 flavors.
Imagine having all of those on a shelf alongside like your regular Mountain Dew, Code Red, Voltage, Livewire, Spark, Major Melon. They're you'd be overwhelmed, especially if you wanted to get into Mountain Dew.
Yeah. Not to
Like,
mention,
where would you start?
yeah, not to mention the self-cannibalization that would have on the sales.
Yeah.
We kind of saw that firsthand in 2019, 2020 when we lost Citrus Cherry, Whiteout, Pitch Black, amongst others. It was an overloading of the shelves with too many flavors. And if we just start adding all of these flavors on there, the same thing will happen again. And I think for that reason, Pepsi is not going to do that.
Yeah. If there's anything that you should learn about like the Atari era of video games, is that too much can be a bad thing.
Yes.
Don't oversaturate the market.
Yes. I think that the exclusives is a good way for them to introduce a lot of new flavors. Heck, we've got probably 10 or so just in the last year or two. Yeah. But I think what it's important to realize and remember here is the alternative to a flavor being exclusive to Food Lion. The alternative is not that it gets put on the store's shelves everywhere. The alternative is the flavor is never created.
Exactly.
So I would much rather have a flavor exclusive to a chain in the Midwest than never be created at all.
Absolutely. Because then you can't even try it. You don't even know it exists. Yeah.
Exactly.
It does exist.
Yeah.
Yep.
On that note, I think we are going to bring things to a close on the first episode. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I would plug the giveaway for the cookbooks, but I think at the point that you're listening to this, that giveaway is already going to be over.
And in the next episode, we're going to look at the questions for r/Mountain Dew.
And that is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know. I haven't looked back at how many more questions we've gotten since the last time, but last I looked, we had 30 plus really solid questions that I am very excited to delve into and see what we can come up with for some answers. So, Darn, any parting words?
Well, if you want to see more of me for some reason, right, I'm on Discord, on the Dew Drinker Discord, discord.gg/dew, which you should check out. And I'm also the moderator for r/Mountain Dew.
And r/Pepsi.
And r/Pepsi, yeah. Tebow is also on r/Mountain Dew, but not on r/Pepsi.
True.
I don't know what else to say. Thanks for watching. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Listening. Yes, glad to have you.
Oh, yeah. Listening, not watching.
Not watching yet, but we will get there eventually. Glad to have you join me as a co-host, and looking forward to having you as a continued co-host on the show. Lots of very exciting things planned for the podcast. I hope to have you all tuning in the future. Thank you so much. I hope you have a very exciting rest of your day.